Chapter 1. The map no one was meant to see. The flicker of a lantern cut through the damp darkness of the old library. Dust motes swirled like constellations, illuminated for the first time in decades. William Morris, historian turned reluctant explorer, tightened his grip on the rolled parchment clutched in his hands. The map looked wrong. It was a cartographer's nightmare, a geography that should not exist. Beyond the familiar outline of Antarctica, there were sprawling lands, mountain ranges, forests, and cities carefully inked with precision, but the most striking detail was the inscription, written in Latin at the edge of the paper. Mundi 178, Sub Magno Domo, 178 worlds, under the Great Dome. Maurice's heart hammered. He had spent years chasing whispers about civilizations beyond the Antarctic ice wall, stories dismissed as myth, conspiracy, or outright madness, but this was proof. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the stacks. Though every window was bolted shut, it carried with it a whisper, faint but unmistakable. Not all truths are meant to be found. He stuffed the map into his leather satchel, extinguished the lantern, and left the library with hurried steps. His life had just been divided into two eras, before the map and after it. Chapter 2. The War. Weeks later, the expedition stood at the edge of the world. The Antarctic winds howled like banshees, lashing against the wooden hull of their ship. Endless sheets of ice floated around them, jagged and treacherous. Maurice pulled the map again, shielding it from the snow. His finger traced the inked outline of what lay ahead. Murallas, the yellow, colossal barrier described in forgotten manuscripts. And then, like a mirage given flesh, it appeared. The ice wall towered over them, stretching endlessly in both directions. Its sheer face was smooth and blue, glistening under the pale sun like crystal. It was not a natural formation. It looked constructed, engineered. The sailors muttered prayers under their breath. Some claimed it was the very edge of God's creation. Others swore it was the prison wall of humanity. Morris said nothing. He only stared, breathless, as the realization sank in. Beyond that barrier lay worlds no human of his era was permitted to know. Chapter 3. The Passage. They found the portal by accident. A storm had driven them against the wall, their ship splintering on the ice. Clinging to survival, Morris and a handful of sailors stumbled upon a cavern opening at the base of the wall, hidden by shifting glaciers. Inside, the air was unnaturally warm. Luminescent crystals pulsed faintly along the cavern ceiling, casting eerie shadows. And deeper still, a great archway stood carved into the stone. Impossibly precise, inscribed with glyphs that no sailor could read, but Maurice instinctively understood. It was a door. As his hand brushed against the symbols, the archway shivered with light. The cavern trembled. One sailor screamed, another dropped to his knees in prayer. And then, with a sound like rushing wind, the doorway opened, revealing a sky of colors they had never seen, and a land that should not exist. Forests stretched beyond the horizon, rivers shimmered with an iridescent glow, and towering structures of unknown origin rose in the distance. Morris stepped through first. The world behind him vanished. The first of the 178 worlds had revealed itself. Chapter 4. The Custodians. The first days in the new land felt like paradise. The air was rich with oxygen, the soil fertile, the fruits nourishing beyond anything they had known. But paradise has its guardians. On the third night, as the campfire flickered, they appeared. Figures cloaked in shadow, tall and thin, with eyes like obsidian mirrors. Their movements were fluid, predatory. They called themselves the Custodians. Through a language that bypassed words and struck directly into thought, they explained their role. We are the keepers of the domes. We maintain the balance. Humanity is not ready for the truth of the worlds. You were not meant to cross. Maurice demanded answers. Who built the domes? Why imprison mankind in ignorance? The Custodians only tilted their heads in unison. To protect you. From yourselves. But Morris felt no protection in their gaze. Only control. And as he looked deeper into their shimmering black eyes, he understood. These beings had been manipulating humanity for millennia, steering history, erasing discoveries, ensuring that no one breached the wall. Chapter 5. The River of Glass. The first world they entered was unlike anything Maurice had seen. The river that stretched across the valley was made not of water, but of a liquid crystal, flowing like molten glass, shimmering with all the colors of dawn. When the sailors touched it, they felt warmth spread through their veins, erasing fatigue and sharpening the mind. But with the gift came a warning. An elder appeared from the tree line cloaked in silver leaves. His eyes reflected the same crystalline glow as the river. He called his people the Lumari, guardians of memory. The Lumari explained that the river of glass held the collective memory of all beings under the dome. Every drop contained stories, choices, victories, and mistakes of civilizations long vanished. Drink too much, and one risks drowning in memories that were not their own. One sailor ignored the warning. Thirsty and desperate, he drank greedily. Moments later he collapsed, screaming in voices that were not his, eyes flashing with centuries of borrowed lives. The Lumari carried him away, whispering, "The past is not a gift, but a burden. Only the worthy may drink." Morris stared at the river, trembling. The custodians had said humanity was protected from itself. Was this what they meant? That knowledge, raw, unfiltered, could destroy just as easily as it could empower. Chapter 6. Lemuria, the Sunken Throne. The second world lay across a mountain range carved with colossal statues, half buried in time. At its heart stretched the ruins of a vast city, towers shattered yet still magnificent. Domes of gold half-collapsed, streets etched with symbols that glowed faintly in the moonlight. Lemuria, the name echoed in Morris's mind, as if he had always known it. The lost continent whispered in myths dismissed by scholars. Here it was, standing silent and broken. As they explored the ruins, they found frescoes that told a terrible story. Lemuria had once flourished with science and energy far beyond Morris's world. Towers that reached the clouds, machines that bent storms, cities powered by crystalline suns. But then came the custodians. The frescoes showed dark figures descending from the skies, rewriting Lemurian history, splintering its unity, and finally drowning the continent beneath walls of water. The survivors, those who resisted, had been forced into exile across other worlds of the dome. Standing before the ruined throne, Morris clenched his fists. Lemuria had not fallen by accident. It had been erased, and the custodians were not protectors. They were jailers. Chapter 7. The World of Eternal Storms. Their next crossing was violent. The portal shuddered, and instead of a gentle passage, they were thrown into chaos. Here the sky was never still. Lightning forked endlessly, painting the heavens purple and white. Thunder rolled without pause. Oceans boiled with storms that never ceased. And yet, life endured. They discovered tribes of storm dwellers, humans with skin etched by lightning scars, their hair glowing faintly as if charged by static. These people worshipped the storms as living gods, claiming each bolt of lightning was a thought from the dome itself. One storm shaman led Morris to a plateau where lightning struck continuously upon a crystalline spire. He explained that this spire was a conduit between worlds, a natural gateway that the custodians had failed to destroy. "We are the forgotten," the shaman said, his voice drowned by thunder. "Exiles cast into endless storms. Yet still we live, still we resist." For the first time, Morris realized the truth. Not all 178 worlds were prisons. Some were fortresses of rebellion, fragments of civilizations refusing to die. Chapter 8. The Garden of Immortals. Exhausted, half their crew lost to storms and hunger. They stumbled into a world that looked like paradise itself. Emerald fields rolled beneath golden skies. Fruit trees bore jewels of nourishment. Rivers sang with laughter. And no illness, no hunger, no pain afflicted those who lived there. Its people called themselves the Immortal. They had lived for centuries without aging, their bodies healed by the very air. To them, time was a forgotten concept, but paradise hid its price. Morris noticed something strange. The Amaril's eyes were vacant, their conversations empty as if rehearsed. There was no art, no struggle, no curiosity. They were eternal, but stagnant. A woman, her hair silver, though her face remained unlined, whispered to him in secret, "We are not alive, we are preserved. The custodians built this world to keep us docile. Eternal life, without freedom." Maurice understood then. Immortality without purpose was just another prison, and the Amariel were living proof. Chapter 9. The Custodian's Warning. Word of Morris's journey spread. In every world they crossed, whispers followed him. The outsider who carried the forbidden map, the man defying the custodians. It was only a matter of time before they confronted him again. One night, as the crew rested beneath alien stars, a figure cloaked in black appeared by the fire. His eyes reflected endless voids. "You trespass on sacred grounds," the custodian intoned. "You awaken worlds that were meant to sleep. Do you not see? Your curiosity will undo the balance of the dome." Morris rose to his feet, defiance burning in his chest. "Balance? Do you call this balance? You have enslaved entire civilizations, erased knowledge, caged humanity like cattle, and you dare call it protection?" The custodian tilted its head, unblinking. "Without us you would destroy yourselves. Lemuria proved this. Atlantis proved this. We are the wall that stands between you and your own ruin." And then, leaning closer, it whispered, "But perhaps ruin is what you truly seek." With that, the custodian vanished into the night, leaving only the taste of fear on the wind. Chapter 10. The World of Twin Suns. The portal shimmered with a brightness unlike any before. When Morris stepped through, he squinted against the blinding light. Above him, two suns blazed in the sky, one golden, one crimson. Their combined heat painted the world in hues of fire and blood. The land was desert, vast and endless. Yet in the distance rose monumental towers of obsidian, angled like spears piercing the heavens. The inhabitants of this world were tall, bronze-skinned, and cloaked in fabrics that shimmered with metallic threads. They called themselves the Solarians. To them, the twin suns were not merely stars, but the eyes of the dome itself, ever watching. The Solarians lived in harmony with the sun's cycles. By day, under the golden sun, they thrived, building, creating, and exploring. But when the crimson sun dominated, they retreated into their obsidian towers, whispering of the madness hours. when thoughts twisted and desires burned uncontrollably. One night, curious, Morris walked under the crimson glow. His thoughts began to blur. Anger, desire, fear, all rising at once. He felt himself unraveling until the Solarian priestess pulled him back. "The dome tests us," she explained. "It gives us creation, but it also gives us chaos. We endure both, or perish." Morris realized that every world was not only a prison, but also an experiment. I will continue talking about all related worlds mentioned in this book, and don't forget it, like and subscribe.